Nasty night that it is. Hey, fellas, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. Adequate notice of this August the 8th, 2013 meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting written notice and agenda of this meeting on the bulletin board in this municipal building, 1000 Route 10, Whippany, Township of Hanover, and by delivering, mailing, faxing such notice and agenda to the following newspapers: the Hanover Eagle, Morris County's Daily Record, the Star Ledger, and by filing same with the Township Clerk. May I have a roll call, please?
Committeeman Schleifer.
Here.
Committeeman Faramasca.
Here.
Committeeman Bruno.
Here.
Committeeman Capola.
Here.
Mayor Francioli.
Here.
5 members in attendance, sir.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in a pledge of allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. We have some enjoyable business to do tonight. Good deal. And we'd like to recognize the 2013 Memorial Junior School Vikings baseball team on winning the Greater Morris County Junior School Coaches Association Group 3 Championship. Terrific job, guys. Very, very good. We're very happy to have you with us tonight, and we've got some certificates for you that we hope you'll enjoy. And before we do that, we're going to do something for the record, which is known as a proclamation, and I think Mr. Bruno is going to offer it. Right? So offered, right?
So moved.
Of course, he moved
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, second. Okay, Mr. Giorgio, would you please read us the proclamation?
This is a resolution of the Township Committee congratulating all members of the 2013 Memorial Junior School Vikings baseball team on winning the Greater Morris County Junior School Coaches Association Group 3 Championship. Whereas the 2013 Memorial Junior School Vikings baseball team has captured the Greater Morris County Junior School Coaches Association Group 3 Championship. And whereas the Vikings have accomplished an impressive record, finishing with a 14-3 record, which record deserves the praise and admiration of the citizens of Hanover Township. And whereas the Township Committee recognizes the good sportsmanship, camaraderie, and team spirit of the members and their coach in working together as a unit in this highly competitive sport. And whereas the governing body is extremely pleased this evening to honor the members of the baseball team on this memorable occasion. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover in the County of Morris and State of New Jersey as follows. 1, that the governing body offers the sincere congratulations and best wishes of all the residents of Hanover Township to the following members and the coach of the 2013 Memorial Junior School Viking baseball team. And they are 7th grade, Brian Clark, Mike Collins, Nick Giraldi, Kyle, Lisa, and Alex Mayetta. 8th grade, Nick Borello, Marco Chavarro, Cole Devine, Colin Fitzsimmons, Kevin Gately, Jared Kitchell, Andrew Lake, Matt Munzai, Thomas Quirk, Daniel Sanchez, Dan Scally, and Stephen Tucker, and statisticians Liz Werner, Julianne Alvarez, and Silvana Poulter, and their coach Kenneth McPeak, and to those who actively supported and encouraged this team to all their great victories. Signed, Ronald Francioli on behalf of the Township Committee.
Very good. Bob, you have any comments?
A couple of things. Again, gentlemen, congratulations. This is something you'll remember for the rest of your lives, your sporting lives and everything else. You'll be able to go back and tell those stories of the championship many times. Hopefully there'll be a lot more victories to come, but this is something that, once again, I think you'll remember forever. My understanding was there was a 12-2 win over Kinnelon, probably one of the highlights. In the semifinals, a 4-1 win over Pequannock in the championship game. I think Whippany and Pequannock have become rivals over the years in many sports, so I'm sure that you were not only happy to win the county tournament, but beating Pequannock probably made it even that much better. First county championship in 7 years, that's a long time. So the last time they won it all, some of you guys were in first grade and even kindergarten. 14-3 record, I think the mayor mentioned overall. Ken McPeak, the coach, not to be forgotten, an MJS graduate, Whippany Park graduate. I don't know whether they ever won the county tournament when Mr. McPeak was a player, but maybe they did. Did they ever win when you were there, Coach?
Our 8th grade year we won.
You did win, so the tradition continues. And once again, congratulations on being the best team in Morris County. And now I think the mayor will join me in giving you guys some certificates.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're going to give you the resolution that was just read too. So Coach can come forward on that. Maybe help us with the certificates too, huh? Give you the resolution. By the way, I love the shirts. Joe, how come we don't do shirts? They got nice shirts.
We'll get them for you.
We can't get nicer shirts than that. We get the ones that shrink. They got better shirts than we got.
Quality shirts.
Can we start with the statisticians? Julianne Alvarez? Ain't something more important than this. Is Brian Clark? Florida Collins, come on up, Mike. We haven't even come tonight because we were told everyone could be here. Thomas Quirk. Daniel Sanchez. The rest of them. Dan Scally. And Stephen Tucker. We'll get together for a photo. We'll move in here. We'll do a photo, and where's our coach? Somewhere in the middle there, Coach. Wherever you want. Pick them up. Two rows.
They're all good kids. I know some of the names. I went to high school with their parents probably. And recognize names.
She's smiling.
Sure, you got it? You good?
Guys keep taking me.
All right, guys. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good luck next year. Okay, we'll give you guys a few minutes to get yourselves going before you get into the rest of our meeting. All right. Is it raining out there still or what?
Oh my God. so much fun.
Yeah, you gotta come back.
Signing up for next year.
Clear as an essence. And August, what do we expect?
You were behind me. If you got a decent shot, let me know. My blurred.
Okay. 71?
Everybody join us.
You know what I always think? That was great. That was great. Kids? That was great. Oh, that's wonderful. That was fun. Yeah.
You know, how can you
That's
not?
the best part of this whole. Absolutely. And the kids.
Okay, that's fine. We'll give our team a chance to get themselves going here before we continue on. Sadly, I would like to make a comment. We lost a member of the Hanover Township family yesterday, and in the passing of Doris L. Doris. Doris was a member of our planning board, not a member, but secretary to the planning board, secretary to the Board of Adjustment since 1971. Probably served over 30 years with the township, and I had the very fond pleasure of working with her when I first came into the planning board myself, and she'll be sadly missed. And I understand arrangements are being made for her for tomorrow at Braviac Funeral Home, 2 to 4, 7 to 9. And again, we will sadly miss her. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman. Thank you. Okay, at this time, gentlemen, I'd like to open the floor to the public for any items not appearing on the agenda. Motion to open?
So moved.
Second. Seconded, all in favor? Aye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. Anyone who would like to address the Township Committee at this time can do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Mark Leibowitz. I live at 52 Manga Road in Cedar Knolls. A few weeks ago, I read a article in the Weekly Eagle Regional or whatever on the Saddlebrook Court, and started asking some questions because I was unfamiliar with the project. I had heard that there was a low and medium income project coming in, but the projects we've had in town for the last, I guess, 15 years have been mixed, with 20% being low and medium and the rest being regular housing. And I sent Mr. Giorgio a letter asking him how many units, and the stories I've heard were very disturbing. And part of the letter that came back was about Saddlebrook is that in the payment in lieu of taxes pilot to the township will be $34,000 this year. It is my understanding that the dollar amount the township will receive will be based on the rents charged for units. If the rents go up, the dollar amount the township will receive goes up. The pilot program requirement is part of the Ingram financing plan through the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency. None of the pilot money goes to the school systems, the county, or fire districts. At the time Ingram was approved, the members of the Township Committee were Sheridan, Faramasco, Schleifer, Capola, and Arati. Speaking with some of the other people in town, I asked Mr. Giorgio how many units there were and everything, and the breakdown as far as students, and he had me forward my questions to Mr. Branchow. And Mr. Branchow came back and said that there were 15 one-bedroom, there are 39 two-bedrooms, which I think can hold maybe 2 kids in each, which is approximately 78 kids. There are 24 three-bedrooms, which could probably hold 4 kids in each, which would make it 96. So you have a possibility of somewhere up to 174 kids moving into the school district, and you have $34,000 going to the school district. People move into a community because of the school district and the scores that we have with our state scores. In the last few weeks, I've learned that 3 or 4 kids, of the first kids to apply to the school, one of them is going to be costing the school district approximately $190,000. The school district has bought a van, and it'll cost $190,000 for the child this year. The other 2 or 3 kids will cost between $50,000 and $100,000, so it's going to be costing our school district between $290,000 and $490,000 this year, plus the other kids coming in. As the kids come into the school system from other school districts, a lot of them have to be brought up to the grade level for the state exams. If they don't meet the state exam levels of the other students, they bring the score down of the class, which brings the school system's rating down in the state. So my questions to you basically are, You're getting $34,000 for the school district, for yourselves, and nothing for the school district. And this can be costing the school district, with teachers and everything else, in the next few years between $500 and over $1 million, and they have a 2% cap. What are we doing to help the school district now with their problem?
The housing you're speaking of, Mark, is known as, briefly, an acronym is COA Housing, Council of Affordable Housing. Each township, certainly I can speak for Hanover, has a allocation for the 25 or near 30 years that I've known COA and worked with it in this township. Every round, and we're up to, I think, the third round now, that we have gotten another allocation predicated upon our ability to develop in areas. That being said, this particular housing, affordable housing, consistent with the affordable housing we put in other projects, as you mentioned, low and moderate housing. We have 5 such areas in township which incorporate affordable housing. And this amount of units and this housing works against our COA obligation and reduces our obligation to the COA requirement by that many. I think the Township Committee recognizes with the pilot program that there is some attention to be brought to the financial needs of education on this matter. I've informed the committee of some of the numbers, and I'm taking the initiative for the Township Committee to try and go to the League of Municipalities. We've already met with our local legislators in District 27 and trying to find avenues, additional avenues for the costs involved with those students needing particular care. I think that's a little gray area here that we and other towns have when childs of special needs either transfer out of district or into district or move into the system. That liability comes with them, but the dollars don't from the other district. I can't sit here and I can't say to you right now that I've got those answers for the dollars, but I can tell you that the Township Committee is pursuing it and concerned to see that the Hanover Township school budget is made whole in some fashion. That's what we're going to try and do. It's again, it's an area that I described earlier as a gray area, and I don't have all the answers. I don't know, Council, if you have any comment on that.
No, I think it's well said, Mayor. It's Council on Affordable Housing has essentially a mandate that, you know, the township is faced with, and the township has to comply with, and the township cannot control or nor can it speak about anything more as far as population and things of that nature. It's a mandate from the state, and failure to comply has severe consequences. It could just make basically affordable housing by way of a builder's remedy suit anywhere and any place in the township without any appropriate planning concerns. And you know, and I understand the point that you're making. We're never at liberty to comment about any kind of group or any specific group or their conditions, disability, or their age. But I can say that the Board of Education is a separate entity, autonomous entity, and you know, I think when we look back and these type of things come forward with planning decisions, you don't really have the ability. You have to have really no vision as to what ultimately is the population. You have to zone what's fair to everyone, so you can't pick and choose. And that's
You know, this
the way it's supposed
project
to
never
work.
had to be built. The surrounding townships don't have anything like this. They haven't had anything. I'm not complaining about anything else other than the cost to the school. When this project was presented, your urban areas are getting 70 to 80% of their money for schools from the federal and state. We're getting 4.5%. This project, according to Mr. Bochow, the state does not, okay. Also, once the unit is occupied, the state does not then limit the number of children that can live in the unit. Household size is only used on initial occupancy determinations. So later on, you could have stacking. There could be a lot of other problems happening in the community. But again, this project, Morris Township doesn't have one. Morris Plains never got one. Florham Park, East Hanover. We passed a project, and from what they told me, it passed in one evening here. It was brought out and presented and passed in one evening. People didn't know it. If I go on my street in Manger, in Cedar Knolls, no one knows about it. John, if I go on Forest, no one in your street knows about it. The article that appeared in the Weekly Eagle was an article that didn't say anything, basically. But the people in town don't know anything about this unit, the problems that are going to be existing, and the costs that are going to be to the school. And I understand where you're coming from, but again, this is hindsight. Now, it shouldn't have been built. It is built, but somewhere along the line, you know, I have no children in school. Mine have graduated. I just hate to see the kids that are working in school and watching, you know, as a homeowner in town, the values of your property are as good as the school system is. It'll go up and down with the school system. And I think this is a tremendous letdown, this project. Thank you.
Did you note that Scott sat in on those meetings? Did you note that Scott did sit in on these meetings?
Well, Mr. Capola, having been in planning during that time frame, I can tell you that we faced a very challenging situation with meeting the COA requirements. And it's not optional, it's a state requirement. It's state law. We made a decision after going through analysis, significant analysis, whether we should use our process, which we would call inclusionary, where you build mixed market rate and COA housing together, or do you build dedicated COA? Here are the key numbers to hold on to. I'm just going to give you two numbers. Here were the choices. You could have an aggregate of 725 units throughout the township, of which these houses would be partial market rate, partial affordable, 725, or you could have 78 rentals. Those are the choices that we faced.
Okay, those are the choices you faced, but the 720 units, we have 5 developments in town that have been built. Of those, you have control of who, you have a list in town of who goes into those units. The list for this development is by the state. It's not by the town. We have no control over who's going to be in there or anything else. The other part is, on the other 5 units built, I would like to see, and I think you can come up with the numbers, of all the units that are there, the total taxes that are paid, and the number of children that go, and use 16,000 per student, and see how the town comes out ahead. This project is 34,000, 78, how many students come in? 78 units. We're losing money on the project. The other ones you're mentioning, I agree, 700 units. We have a project next door here that was built. How many kids are coming out of that, and how much is the town collecting in taxes? That's a positive. The one at OLM is a positive. The one on Eden Lane is a positive. The one on, you have the numbers. You're going to have to show them to the public to show that these are positive numbers. What went in here is not a positive number, and it's hurting the town. You can tell me 715 units, 780 units. The money coming in helps the town. It wouldn't hurt the school district. It'd be the same amount, but the town would be well ahead. Something has to be done here to help the school district.
We are looking at what we can do to help the school district. In addition, this should not have been a surprise to anybody within the school district, because the planning board at the time invited the school district during our evaluation process so that there would be no surprises. So there should not be a wake-up moment that, oh my gosh, this has happened. There was a whole process that went on. It took place over literally a 2-year period.
John, this came in one night and went, no one in the area was notified.
Yes,
You know, when you had a problem 4 years ago when you were letting go of 4 policemen, you carried it for 5 months, everyone in town knew about it. This project came and went, and no one knew about it.
This was
the ordinance that adopted the zoning was publicly noticed. There was a hearing in this room. The master plan at the planning board that adopted this was a public hearing on notice. So I don't think you can say there wasn't notice of this.
Well, we never heard about it. We live right around the corner from it.
The site plan application at the planning board also had notice. So there was 3 separate public hearings at which this was a component of the hearing. And they were all on notice, both to the general public and to the surrounding properties.
And the superintendent sat through these meetings.
I'm not arguing the superintendent sat through it or anything. I'm just saying the
But he
project should never have come
understood-
through
he
like
understood-
this in the first
but
place.
The superintendent understood the impact. So, and didn't, accept it as to what it was.
But for the township itself, having 78 units paying $34,000 is not a help to the
But
township.
The short answer from the planning perspective on this is, we had a choice, either build 725 units of housing to get 78 affordables, with all the school kids that would have come out of that, with all the traffic that would have come out of that, with all the land that it would have taken to build that many units, which can now be commercial ratables, would provide more taxes with fewer services to the town. So a much greater financial benefit to have those commercial ratables instead of having housing on all that acreage with less traffic. That was the choice the town had to make, and the pilot was a mandatory requirement for 100% affordable housing project, because a developer's not making money on 100% affordable. They're losing money. They make their money through other federal and state financing programs, and those financing programs won't subsidize these projects unless the pilot is in place at the municipality.
So why haven't the other surrounding townships done the same thing?
Well, I know townships...
No, I'm just asking you a question. Morris Township hasn't done it. Morris Plains hasn't done it. Florham Park, East Hanover. Why don't they have the same problems that we had?
I don't know why they haven't done it. I know some
Okay.
towns that have scoffed at the law and gotten away with it. But, we're subject to the law, and the Township of Hanover has already gone to court once over its failure to address affordable housing. That's why the RM zones exist today. So it's a very real threat that's out there, that if we don't comply with the state requirements for affordable housing, we can and very likely will be in court over that. So the town has to address that obligation. I think the mayor and the town attorney already said that. But so the town looked at the 2 alternatives of doing the inclusionary versus 100% affordable, and it felt that on balance, the 100% affordable was a far better way to deal with our obligation than to try to develop 700 plus units in the town with all the negative impacts that go along with that. So are there losses? Are there pros and cons to both? Absolutely. But the town...
Are we now finished with our COA?
No, we have actually more in our
Okay,
plan.
so how many more projects do we have in town now? Like this?
Like this, we have
Yeah.
no more like this at the moment. We do have 100% affordable, but they're age restricted. So there
See,
won't be
age
any
restricted
schools.
is no problem. You could have it over by the JCC, you have it over on Horse Hill Road, that's something entirely different.
Right.
But I'm saying, how many more COA units do we have in town?
The state rules limit how many age restricted we can do to address our plan, and we've already maxed out on our age restricted, so we don't have that option of doing age restricted. So again, it came back to the option of, do you want to build 725 units to get 78 units of COA credit, or would you rather build 78 units to get... You see, either way, you still have the 78 COA.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying to you, the other towns haven't done it, we were forced to do
Well,
it.
I can't speak to what other
Okay,
towns have
I'm just
done.
mentioning. Thank you.
I believe they've done it in Hardin Township.
Oh, some other towns
Randolph
have
has
done
done
it,
it.
yes.
Randolph has done it as well.
Randolph definitely has done
Now,
it.
Harding Township, I believe, they started their own affordable housing agency to build such units. I mean, they had to deal with it. They
Right,
were
they had to
they
deal
were
with it, too.
behind. I believe in Florham Park, there's Sun Valley. That's an affordable housing, complex. And every community has to do it. I believe most of the communities in Morris County have, because they're in compliance. They do it in different ways. I mean, some do it where they build the 700 units. Some convert different units to affordable housing, and all of a sudden, the use of certain properties changes. So I don't, I understand a lot of the points that are made, but I think in fairness to all the efforts of various parts of the township, whether it be economic development, planning, the planning board, the township committee. I think the township has worked diligently and did extensive studies. I just think before this project, I think Mr. Faramasco, there were extensive studies done by the planning board how the best way to plan for affordable housing. It's not like something just came. There was enormous discussion, extensive, about what's the best way. I can remember the discussion being about the California type plan, et cetera. And, you know, the thought that went into this, you know, this planning, and it can't be perfect because the state mandates it. But under the circumstances and, you know, what the alternatives were, and I think the best example is it's either the 78 units or 700 units. And it's not going to make it any different with respect if there's other developments, that doesn't preclude them from still building market units. So you could have 700 market units here and another 700 somewhere else, that it wouldn't change or take away someone's right to develop that either. You don't want to overdevelop. You really want to have a plan, and I think you know, you utilize this so that, to answer the question, so you don't have to continue to try to satisfy this affordable housing number. This really addressed a significant concern for the entire township.
Thank you, Fred. I think that the Township Committee is got to focus now on the needs in this process for the school board and for the schools, for education, in particular on the budgetary side of things. I think if we have identified anything here, it might be some issues in the shortfall on the school budget in order to prepare for a certain amount of the student population. To that end, I think we have an obligation to aggressively see whether there are other areas of funding, be it state, county, whatever, research it out to see how we can assist the school board at this point in time and overcome any of the burden to the taxpayers of our town. So I think that's the Township Committee's next action, you know, on this matter. But would anyone else like to be heard at this time?
If I understand correctly, I think, what was the number of students, 40?
I'm sorry?
How many students they said would be possibility of 40 students?
The estimate was close to, I think it was 46 to 47 was his yes.
For a 65-unit development, yeah. So I've looked at the numbers. I've projected 55 to 60 in this development when it's fully developed and occupied. And that's consistent with the state study, which came up with, like within 1 or 2 children, they would expect the same number of kids.
And I think it's fair to also state that although these were numbers and studies, all part of planning, the township's not at liberty, nor either the housing provider, to ever discuss the demographics or statistics as to who lives there in any type of development. That's against the law, and you know we all have to adhere to that as a governing body. That you know whatever the statistics are, they are, but they're not for us to do anything more than to say in the planning process, this is what we were provided with. This is how decisions for appropriate planning, traffic, and things like that were made. But after that, the Federal Fair Housing Act is extremely, guides you to say, you know, if you even went to a housing development and you asked, you know, how many, Freds live here, they can't tell you, and they're not supposed to. And that's in fairness to protection of everyone's rights, and that's the Fair Housing Act. So you have to, you have to work with the planning process that and the tools that you have at the time for the best interest of the township.
I can't say that the state in its infinite wisdom thinks a lot of things out. So forgive me for political comments here, but our Highlands Act went in the same direction. underfunded, under-budgeted, and inverse condemnation of properties to property owners in the interests for the DEP, et cetera. COA, in its infinite wisdom, follows right behind.
It's true, Mayor. You know,
Right
you have
behind.
a governor who tried diligently to eliminate
He
Council of
is
Affordable Housing.
working in earnest, and it's much appreciated,
And
and
you also have a state that wants to come in and says, if you don't spend the money and if you don't go forward with affordable housing, we'll take the money and you'll have, or the Affordable Housing Trust Fund money, and you'll have to be on your own and use taxpayer dollars to fund these type of endeavors. So it's a very, and there, it's, you know, the Supreme Court's now weighed in, the appellate division's weighed in, it's in a state of flux. I mean, the one thing I think it's fair to say, and the question was raised, how is Hanover Township doing with respect to affordable housing? And I believe it's a fair statement to say the township is in compliance.
Yes.
And so that gives you protection from a developer coming in, obtaining a tract of land and saying, I'm gonna build whatever I want, because if a town's not in compliance, they can do that. They can get a court order to develop how many units a court determines is necessary to meet your compliance, you know, requirements.
I just say that the formula comes up short-sighted where education budgets are concerned. And I understand completely over the years the rationale, the reasons for COA, from Mount Laurel decision on through, lived through it all, okay? But I still say that the hole in the dike here is with education. They have not thought through the impact of special needs or student population in any way, shape, or form. And we understand it, and but they are not funding it, and they're leaving that responsibility as part of another type of tax to the township. Okay, and that's what it's come in the form of, because the dollars to be provided to education, not coming from COA, are going to come out of the tax base of our towns. So
When you combine that with the 2% cap, it's especially damaging, because we both have a 2% cap.
it's called a compound felony.
Yeah, it's like the left hand isn't telling the right hand what's going on. So on the right hand, you're saying you have to do affordable housing, which is going to increase your population and increase your costs. But the left hand is saying, but you can't increase your costs. So it's difficult.
I prepared a request, an extensive request for the Morris County League of Municipalities, and I've also copied the New Jersey League of Municipalities, Bill Dressler, on that same request, to have an opportunity to perhaps discuss in greater detail this specific area of financing for education at the up-and-coming November League of Municipalities Convention, where I think we can get more of the sentiment of other towns who are probably realizing the very same experience we are, and to see what we can do to try and focus on this need. I think that's the problem. Anyone else from the public like to be heard at this time? Hearing none, seeing none. Motion to close?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Administrator?
Thank you, Mayor. We have the approval of the Township Committee regular meetings on June 12th and 27th, 2013. May we have a motion for approval?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Communications. Two items, ladies and gentlemen. The first is a request for the drawdown of tax levy money to the Hanover Township Board of Education in the amount of $2,194,394. May we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Capola, second by Mr. Francioli. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Second is a letter addressed to me, dated July 9th, from Rita Ruick. It says, Dear Joseph, I hereby tender my resignation to be effective November 1st, 2013. I have worked for the township since March of 1971. They have been mighty busy years, but that is the way I like it. Time goes by so fast when you're busy, but the sad thing is your life is passing by as well. As you know, I have a number of vacation days which I will be taking before I leave, so I will be not working too much longer. In accordance with procedure.
That's what I like about Rita. She's straight out, right to the point. There you go.
May we have a motion to
Motion
accept the
to
letter of
accept the
resignation?
letter of resignation.
We have by Mr. Faramaska.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye. Rita, we all wish you the very, very best after 40 years of service to Hanover. In your retirement, I hope you enjoy those years, and God bless you. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next portion of business are departmental reports, which are on file in the administrator's office and available for public inspection. They include the report of the township's chief municipal finance officer as treasurer on the summary of budget revenues as of July 19th. We have the report from Ms. Johnston, the human resource specialist, on all of her activities during the month of July. The Chief of Police has submitted his report on all the activities conducted by the police department during the month of July. The township's property maintenance officer has submitted her report on all her activities during the month of July. And finally, we have our superintendent of public works, buildings and grounds, and park maintenance submitting his reports, again, all activities and projects during the month of July. And last but not least, we have the township engineer report for all of the activities and programs conducted by the engineering department during the month of July 2013. All those reports are available in the Office of the Business Administrator for public inspection. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed, we have two ordinances scheduled for public hearing and consideration of adoption this evening. The first is docketed as ordinance number 21-13. This repealed Section 8, entitled Definition of Part-Time Employment, contained in Salary Ordinance number 15-13, and this is as a result of the postponement of some of the provisions of the Affordable Health Care Act. We have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the July 18th issue of the Daily Record. At this time, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno, seconded by Mr. Schleifer, I believe?
No,
Mr.
Faramaska.
On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 21-13? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing? So moved by Mr.
Second.
Capola, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli. Now, on adoption, be it resolved that ordinance number 21-13, an ordinance of the Township Committee repealing Section 8, entitled Definition of Part-Time Employment, contained in Salary Ordinance 15-13, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the August 15th issue of the Daily Record in accordance with law. May we now have a motion on adoption? So moved by Mr.
Second.
Capola, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So adopted. Ordinance number 22-13 is a land use and development legislation ordinance. We have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the July 18th issue of the Daily Record. We'll also note for the record that in accordance with the municipal land use law, the ordinance was filed with the Morris County Department of Planning and Development and all contiguous municipalities, and it was also referred to the Township's Planning Board for report and recommendation. We have a letter dated July 23rd from the Planning Board Chair on behalf of the Planning Board advising us, and I will just quote in part, the board notes that the master plan does not contain specific recommendations concerning the tree regulations. However, the board believes that the amended regulations in Ordinance 22-13 will not impair the intent and policy recommendations in the master plan. Therefore, the Planning Board recommends the adoption of Ordinance 22-13 as introduced for the following reasons. 1, the ordinance will reduce the burden of compliance with the tree regulations while still providing for the adequate protection and replacement of the township's tree resources. And 2, the ordinance will clarify various provisions in the existing tree regulations. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Francioli, seconded by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone present wishing to be heard concerning ordinance 22-13? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved in unison by most of the committee. On roll call to close the public hearing, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli. Now, on adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, amending and supplementing Chapter 166 of the Code of the Township, entitled Land Use and Development Legislation, by amending the regulations for tree preservation, removal, and planting, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the ordinance in the August 15th issue of the Daily Record. May we have a motion on adoption?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Francioli, seconded by Mr. Capola. On adoption, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So adopted on ordinance 22-13. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next portion of business is introduction of ordinances, and we have a record number of ordinances for introduction this evening.
Can we do them as a consent, Joe? Is that possible?
And I think that we can do this as a consent agenda only because all of the public hearing dates are scheduled for Thursday, September 12th at 8:30 p.m. here in the main meeting room. And on ordinances 23-13 through 29-13, any person wishing to be heard concerning any of those ordinances will be given the opportunity to speak at 8:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as the ordinances appear on the agenda.
You don't have to read them, Fred, by title?
No, because they're for introduction and they've been listed on the agenda, it would suffice by
Comply.
one motion. Yes, unless there's someone who wants
All
to
right,
vote
Joe, what do
second.
you need, a motion?
And we need a motion, Mr. Mayor, for the introduction of ordinances 23-13, 24-13, 25-13, 26-13, 27-13, 28-13, and 29-13.
So moved.
So moved
Move on all the 13s.
Second.
by most of the members of the Township Committee. On roll call for introduction, Mr. Schleifer,
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Fermaska,
Aye.
Mr. Bruno,
Aye.
Mr. Capola, and Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
And just one note for the record, I would ask the members of the Township Committee to bring pizza or food to the meeting of September 12th. It's going to be a long one.
For sure.
And as we continue with resolutions, also as a consent agenda, Are there any questions from members of the Township Committee on any of the resolutions?
Move they be approved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call for approval, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Franciulli.
Aye.
So approved. And ladies and gentlemen, as we continue, I'll give the mayor all the resolutions to sign.
Ugh.
We have raffle
Need
applications.
an extra pen?
I need a cartridge.
Raffle application 2673 and 2674, Morristown Rotary Club. Raffle application 2675 for Whippany Park Booster Club. Are there any questions about any of the raffle applications?
Move they be approved.
We have a motion for
Second.
approval, second by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Franciulli.
Aye.
So approved, and there you go, Mr. Mayor. And the final item on the administrative clerk's agenda is payment of
The
bills.
bill.
We're going to pay $7,666,991.62.
Uh-huh.
Make a motion, we pay the bills, Joe.
We have a motion by Finance Director and Committeeman Mr. Schleifer, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Franciulli.
Aye.
And I thank you, so I don't have to drink so much water tonight. I appreciate that.
I spared you, Joe.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Gentlemen, is there any other business from the committee?
Few things from recreation, if we
Robert?
may. The summer concert series was successful. We had, unfortunately, rain for one of the dates, but 3 out of the 4 went off under good weather and good attendance. So we're thankful for all the donors who helped sponsor the summer concerts. And just 3 reminders: Hanover Township Day coming up quickly on September 7th. We'll be beginning at noon, and this is the first time we're having Hanover Township Day in 5 years, so we hope everyone can attend. On September 14th, we'll have the 2nd annual 5K Run for Heroes. That's a money-raising event that the money then goes to wounded veterans, so a very good cause, and that'll take place at Malpartis Park also. More details on the Recreation website. And then the community bike ride will be the following Saturday, so September 21st. So the first 3 Saturdays in September, lots of good stuff going on in Hanover Township. Thank you, Mr.
Hey,
Mayor.
Bob, that's the second running for the Veterans Run, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the first one was very successful, too. Very, very good event, very nice event. Any other comment, George?
Yes, I would say on the public service announcement that we have 4 upcoming elections. I think one is more important. We've got the primary on the 13th of this month, and the general on October 16th to find to elect the candidate to replace Senator Lautenberg. On September the 24th, there is a referendum that is being voted on to turf a couple of fields in town. And as you know, we had a recent referendum that was for $19 million. This referendum, the total project cost is $9,795,444. Now, this takes into account Hanover Park and Whippany Park. You add the interest to that, it's around $11,521, less debt services, which is a credit to the town, which is $2,828,000 for a total cost to the taxpayers of $8,692 with a house in Hanover Township that the average assessed value of $421,000 can realize an increase in their taxes of $40.57 for the year. So this is going to be taking place on September 24th. The locations will be Mount View School, will be Whippany Park High School, and B Meadow. So keep that in mind. Comes right in between these 2 special elections, and also then you come up with your last and final general election that takes place on November the 5th. So it's going to be very busy people for the next couple of months.
Thank you, George. Is it, did you mention about almost $3 million of that comes back in
Yes,
state aid, right?
$2,828,000
Right.
comes back.
Is the net out to the town, to the
That nets out, yes.
taxpayers?
And then, ultimately, total cost to the taxpayers is $8,692,000.
That's what you're, that's what
With
you're
the,
reaching.
the return of the money to the district.
Okay.
So the 11 million ultimately is 8,692,000, which comes to, for Hanover Township, $40 per household for anyone that's got assessed value of $421,000. This sheet here also includes the same information on East Hanover and Florham Park.
Good. Thank you, George, okay.
Yeah, the September 7th, Hanover Township Day, there's going to be great participation on the part of many of the boards which we have within the township. So I encourage people to come out. Economic Development will have a table. We'll be providing information to the residents as to the activities that are going on within the town. I know that Open Space will also be participating, talking about a very exciting program they have in terms of connectivity with trails, as well as the Environmental Commission will be participating, and they'll have a number of very useful programs that help our residents save money and be a little bit more respectful of the environment. So we encourage you to come out.
It's really, looking over the agenda for that day, I think Bob and the Recreation Commission, everyone did a really pretty full job. I mean, you've got, what's he got, a truck project for the kids to...
Touch a Truck,
Yeah.
for the first time ever. So
Touch
we
a Truck, is that what it's called? Yeah.
You're resurrecting the day and bringing in a lot of things that we haven't had in the past.
Got
So
entertainment that night?
Yes, we got
the Infernos will be playing at 5 o'clock.
All right.
It's an action-packed day.
It's gonna be one big day, and you've got the Whippany Rotary Duck Race as
Duck race
well.
will be going on at the same time.
And corn.
And hot
And the
dogs.
corn.
And
Ice
hot
cream.
dogs.
corn's coming?
And
Hot dogs.
popcorn and everything else.
That's it, count me in. Okay.
Mayor,
All right.
if
Any
I
other-
just have
Kenny,
one other,
anything?
one other item I just wanted to mention. Thanks, everyone, on the introduction of the ordinance 2313. We're authorizing a new automated sanitation truck.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to let everyone know how successful the first one has been, and once we bring the second one online and continue that success. It goes out just twice a week now. There's 2 days a week that truck is used for service, and it was down only 4 days that entire time. No loss of service to our residents because we had retrofitted our existing Packers with those flippers, is what they call them. So the truck has just been
No,
amazing.
I think that this is the second truck.
This is the second
So
truck. that
that'll
we're
let
going
us
online with.
expand the route to other areas of the
Where does
township.
this one go?
It's great. In-service,
And I think
the in-service
ultimately-
factor is 98%. That's very impressive for new
Right.
technology.
The other thing is, since we put this truck online, we haven't had one injury in sanitation as far as I believe. Joe, you can correct me, or Sylvia, correct me if I'm wrong.
That was the major cost. That was the major cost factor.
You know, one of the things looking into the future, and if I put myself in that position, if I was working in sanitation, I would say to myself, I could probably work longer, because I know any job, I have a construction business, and working heavy construction, you can only last this body's only last so long,
Oh, yeah.
you know? And I see a benefit to our employees. It's just humane, I think, not, you know, how long can you do those repetitive motions without getting injuries? And we proved it before, not too long, we were getting a lot of injuries with the packing truck.
That was a major factor, part of the major factors in deciding on this type of a vehicle. And, but I'll tell you, the success of it is, as Kenny, as you were saying, is far-reaching, because my understanding, is that I have Jim Lent out here from the Weekly Regional. Morris Township is considering going over to the one-arm truck, you know?
No, they're gonna go for all three. I think in one fell swoop, although they're still not gonna buy them, they're gonna appropriate for them and not buy them until maybe one each year for the next 2 or 3 years.
Right, right.
They're really positive about it.
I know we've been up at the county with it. They wanted to see it.
The county is talking about doing it with the
Counties?
recycling. You know, they're working towards that direction to do the recycling.
I think it's phenomenal. I really do. And we had a lot of concerns in the beginning because we weren't getting 2 collections a week. We're down to 1 collection. But if you got a 90-gallon container like this, and by the way, for a guy like me to move it down the hill that I have, let me tell you something.
If he can do it,
It's-
anybody can.
Anybody can do it.
It's doable, and my wife knows how to fill it. But that 90-gallon container is more than ample for a family. We've got our choices of the 90s, 60s, and 30s.
Right, and we don't, currently, we haven't had any issues with as far as limits, so there is no limit to how many containers. We provide the first one, and if you so choose, you can buy the second one or third one if you want
Yep.
from the township at a reasonable cost, or they have them available at Home Depot, a different manufactured brand. And some of the residents I spoke to said, yeah, I bought the second one, I don't think I'll need it, but if I have a party or something, I just want to make sure.
Well, yeah.
So just for some insurance, and I think the cost was $50 for an extra can, which is reasonable considering the construction
You'd have
of
to
the
pay
cans.
you'd have to pay that in Home Depot, going out to shop as I did for a can that I needed for other types of things, you know, that's the rate. I mean, you know, nobody's making money on it,
And at least the lids won't blow away.
you know?
Right,
Yes, the lid's
No,
good.
that's
and the ones that
phenomenal.
Township provide are pretty substantial, I think they're really nice containers.
Now, ultimately, are we gonna be looking for a third truck?
I hope so, because ultimately, the goal is to only have to pick up sanitation 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then, as you know, typically holidays fall on a Monday or a Friday, or those are the days
Oh,
taken
yeah.
off for holidays, so we shouldn't have any issues with that. We have a storm, we have now 2 more days that we can make up a procedure where if we lose a day because of a storm, then your pickup will automatically be that Friday or Monday or whatever it is. So the interruption of service will be less.
That's phenomenal.
And then again, when a truck breaks down, we have the old Packers retrofitted to go, which we used 4 times this year. So the people will never miss any service.
I am very proud of everyone on the decision process for that. I'm very proud of Hanover for that truck, and I'm very proud to say that we're, once again, on the leading edge when it came to this. It's phenomenal. Good job by everybody, phenomenal.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, all right, gentlemen, I'll open the floor once again to the public for any items not appearing on the agenda. So a motion to open?
Second.
Okay, all approved? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the floor is open. If you'd like to address this Township Committee at this time, you can do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record. Hearing none, seeing none. Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion closed. Motion for adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Committee is adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah,
Gonna need a pen.
Joseph, you can have all of these. So do I.
Yeah. I thought there might be